In today's episode of the Motorhome Matt Podcast,
we speak with a couple who travelled across the globe in a 20-year-old Adria Twin campervan.
And we answer your questions on measuring the height of your van, disposing of waste, and a great insurance experience. And happy birthday this week to Motorhome Matt.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Motorhome Matt Podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Industry insights and expert advice for the world of motorhomes, caravans and campervans, and brought to you by thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
And remember to follow on your favourite podcast app, or if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe and the little bell.
Now, as you may have seen in an episode a few weeks ago, Matt is due his heart surgery anytime soon, and we're recording episodes ahead of time. So for us, it's currently September. So for you, it's November. So I apologise if there's been any big news or big developments in the industry that we haven't shared here, but we're doing our very best. And if it all goes to schedule, future Matt is currently tucked up in bed resting, being waited on hand and foot by Mrs. Motorhome Matt, and it's his birthday as well.
Waited on hand? You're joking. That will not be happening, I promise you. Should be looking out for me, but yeah. I won't be given a bell to ring, if that's what you mean.
I'm not so sure, you know.
I'll let you know. I will let you know.
Now, would you travel around the world in a campervan? That's what we're talking about in this episode of the Motorhome Matt Podcast. Well, today we met two people who did just that. Tell us more then, Matt.
Yeah, they're an absolute inspiration. Chris and Marianne from Tread the Globe have literally driven around the planet in a campervan, and they're doing it again. They're mad. They're absolutely nuts. And I started by asking them what inspired you to go on this massive adventure. Tread the Globe, welcome to the Motorhome Matt Podcast. You're here. You've made it.
We have. It took a while.
Thank you so much.
We'll smooth over my faux pas of giving you the wrong postcode and sending you to my house.
Whoopsie.
I'm so sorry.
It was a very scenic driveway.
Yeah, but it's a lovely spot to live.
It is.
You've been around the entire world, and then I get you lost right at the end bit. So my apologies. Never mind that. So, guys, you have just come back. How long ago did you come back from travelling around the planet? I mean, how long have you been back?
It's about 10 months now.
Yeah,
about 10 months.
It was a little while
yes.
ago.
It's gone
Yes.
by quick.
And a lot has happened in that 10 months, and a lot is going to happen, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But can we just rewind before you did this huge trip to what inspired you to do it? I mean, taking a 20-year-old Fiat Ducato around the planet, was that always your plan?
No. That was an accident,
Would
really.
anybody actually make that plan?
Well, I certainly wouldn't. Not in a 20-year-old Ducato.
No, we chose the Fiat Ducato Adria Twin conversion because that's the van my dad had. And Chris is 6'2" and a bit. And it was the only van that Chris could actually traverse.
Right, okay.
With sort of straight legs. So that's why we chose that van. But we had no intention, did we? We just thought, let's just go around Europe, see what that's
Well,
like.
I mean, how we ended up in the van in the first place was, I think it was a midlife crisis of epic proportion.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Not his first.
You know, we had
You got the goatee, you haven't got the ponytail.
No, and I haven't dyed it yet.
No beads yet.
This time. But yeah, I think you reach an age in life when you realise that you're not going to live forever, and you have to seize the moment and do what you really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I had high blood pressure, a good job, you know, everything was good, but my blood pressure was high, and I had this real fear that I wasn't going to make it to retirement.
Right.
And so, yeah, after much discussion, we just decided to pack up the jobs, sell the stuff, rent the house out, and buy a van.
Yeah,
And move into the van.
Yeah, I realised that I liked him so much that the status thing wasn't really the thing for me. I'd rather live in a cardboard box or a metal box and be together forever.
I'd never slept in a van before, so I literally went from buying a van, moving out of my house and living full time in it without ever spending a night in a van before.
And was it your plan was originally just to go to Europe?
Yeah, live the dream, drive around Europe, free airs, eating croissants
For how
and
long?
drinking red wine. Until we got bored.
Okay.
Yes.
But this escalated pretty quickly into driving around the planet.
Guinness.
Okay.
But alcohol is bad for you on so many levels.
so many ways.
But we
So
actually...
I understand you went to Ireland
Yes.
to a wedding.
Yes.
And that's where things changed.
Uh-oh.
What happened?
Well, I kind of branded the van a bit wild. So
Okay.
it says on the side of our van that we quit the 9 to 5 to travel the world. And we rocked up in Ireland, and people were like, well, how many countries have you been to? And I was like, this is the first. And they looked disappointed.
England and Ireland.
They looked disappointed. But I was like, everyone's got to start somewhere. But yeah, after too much Guinness, somebody read the sign and said, oh, you're driving around the world. And we looked at each other and we went, yes, we are. Why not? And that's kind of where the idea came from.
So the gauntlet was thrown. And so from Ireland, you went to where?
So we actually took 6 months to get Trudy ready.
Right, okay.
Because obviously she was designed for Europe, so we put extra solar on, we put an LPG tank underneath because we'd researched and realised gas bottles might be an issue. We did Europe whilst we were planning, and then it just happened. And in fact, it's do you know?
You
it's
see
really,
how she says that?
Let's just do it. You see, this is why we're a great team. He's the planner, and I'm basically the free spirit. That's code.
She would drive into the sunset
Yes.
on an around the world drive and go, oh, I didn't realise I needed a visa.
Yeah, let's just do it.
So I'm the one going, but hold on a minute. How much is it going to cost?
So you the voice of reason.
Yeah, I have to plan it.
But
I'm the
things
planner.
have changed now. He was the planner, but now I'm the research planner because he's doing a massive project on editing. So I've had to do it, and now I understand why he was so worried all the time.
Yeah, I can understand that. So you are bringing out a documentary
Yeah.
of the trip,
Yes.
which is a massive project to edit.
Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy idea. Well, I realised how much footage I've taken in 4.5 years.
How much footage have you taken?
25 terabytes.
That's a lot of footage. I mean, to most people, have a clue what that means.
No,
but
but
that's
I think
some hours.
The last episode of this series that I edited, I went through 5,300 video clips for one episode.
Which is an hour long.
Yeah.
How do you determine which bits to use?
I think about what stories I would tell if I'm in the pub with somebody,
Okay.
and then I kind of build it from there. And then
And when is this series going to be out?
as soon as I've finished,
No pressure.
I think it's going to be late autumn, November,
Okay.
maybe mid-November.
So this year, 2025.
Yeah, it's going to be on YouTube. I'll put it on
Okay.
YouTube.
We'll look forward to that. So I had the pleasure of meeting Dan, your son, last weekend at a show. We were at a show together. And I said, what do you think of your mum and dad? He said, they're both mad, but I'm so proud of them.
It was his
so
fault
nice.
we started YouTube.
Yes.
Was it?
Yeah, it actually is. Because we'd always done those holidays when we went off, backpacking, and we took photos, we wrote little journals, and then we put it all back in a coffee table book at the end of it.
Right.
And when
yeah.
we decided to do this, he said, why don't you do YouTube? And I was like, does this look like a Kardashian? And he said to me, dear God, no. But Dad's a workaholic, and actually it will give him a project. And that's why YouTube started, because we literally thought this is for friends and family. We had no idea that we would have such a fabulous community that would join us on this journey and cheer us on from the sidelines. We have got the best community.
You
ever.
really have built a brilliant community, it has to be
Yeah.
said.
We are blessed massively.
So thank you to all of you.
Yeah, honestly, not only are they fabulous, but they are committed because
They cheer us on.
yeah, they cheer us on from the sidelines. But we come up with these community projects, and they've backed everything that we've supported.
I want to pick on those in a minute. So there were a couple you shared with me previously, which were really inspiring. But tell me, how did it feel to go from living in a house, because you've now sold the house? You didn't-
No, we rented it.
No,
We
we
rented
rented it.
Right, okay.
And we've actually
Yes.
just taken it back.
Right. So you're back
We
in
have
bricks and mortar, at
which
the
is
moment.
very weird, I have
At
to
the
say.
moment,
It's
at
not
the
going to last
moment.
long.
So how did
Yeah.
it feel going from a house to a van?
For 7 years.
Yes.
Well, I think the first week I was in there, I hit my head every 5 minutes, and I said, if I carry on like this, by the end of this trip, I'm going to be like a boxer.
He did.
Okay.
He did.
With like
And in
brain
fact,
injuries.
right above the kitchen area, because Chris does all the cooking, there's a hatch. So he actually cooks like this with his
I
head
can put my head in
slightly
the hatch.
on there when it's raining, and when it's sunny, he can open it and stand straight.
Okay.
You're amazing.
But you had a great quick, so it's not actually necessarily easier, but it's simpler.
Yes, absolutely. I always say that. Life living in a van motorhome full time, it is not easier, but it is simpler. There are less things to go wrong.
You don't
Less-
have all those
less
crazy
stuff.
house
Yes,
stuff. But
less
there's
stuff.
all when you got we've only been back in the house a short while, but everything goes wrong. There's always something that you need to do on a house, isn't there? And the
course.
more stuff you have, the more stuff that goes wrong.
And
I
a
get-
garden.
I guess you get different challenges, though, in a van. And you alluded earlier to visas, and you would just go off without a visa. In terms of the planning for this trip, what paperwork and prep did you have to get together to go? I mean, there's the obvious stuff like your V5 and the MOT, but in terms of doing a round the world trip, there's a raft of stuff you need to prep for. Where on earth did you start?
Looking at a map, and we kind of went, we're going to just do that, and then.
And it's only that big on the map, so it won't take us long.
But you start looking at things like weather windows,
Yeah.
visa requirements, because you might be allowed to go into a country for a certain length of time, but your vehicle as a foreign vehicle is very often different length of time.
Right, okay.
For example, Mexico, we can get a visa for 6 months, but Trudy could have stayed in Mexico for 10 years.
Okay.
That's
So
the most extreme
That's
version.
the most extreme version, but then there are other times where, you've only got 30 days for yourself or your vehicle and
Thailand.
the paperwork to go with it, but it's that big and you've got to get across it. So there is no stopping. You are traversing and there's no extensions.
And then there's
Right.
weather windows, so you've got to
Yeah.
plan it so you don't end up in some extreme
In a monsoon.
place
Yeah.
in either a monsoon or in the winter and it's minus 30.
But that could be difficult here. I mean, you've seen the weather here
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah,
It's
it's
beautiful
unpredictable at the
sunshine
moment.
and stare rod
Yeah.
rain.
Our internal thermometer errors out at 50, and in India it errored out every day.
Gosh.
And in Yellowstone National Park, because we had a problem, we had to stay at a garage for 6 weeks in Canada and sleep on his forecourt. By the time we got across into Yellowstone, it was minus 12 inside the van. So it was just wild extremes, but that was just part of the challenge and part
And
of
did
the
your
research.
plan always go to plan?
No, it never went to
Never.
plan.
Never.
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 It went wrong. Like the first couple of months was okay. It kind of went to plan. We were going across Europe down towards Turkey, and of course then COVID hit. Well, nobody planned that.
Well, absolutely. And where did you guys spend lockdown? Because it was mid-trip, wasn't it?
We'd been-
2018 you headed off?
We moved into the van in 2018, but the world trip started in January 2020, so it was 3 months before COVID hit, and we just arrived in Istanbul. We'd done 2 days filming in Istanbul, and then the borders closed.
Yes.
And then we spent 95 days
So
in the
you stayed
van
there?
in a car park.
And didn't you become residents of...
We did.
We
Well-
did, but that was because we didn't want to give up and just drive home. So we thought we'll sit it out, wait it out until Georgia opened, Russia opened, because we had a visa for Russia at that point, but it stayed closed due to COVID at that point.
Right.
So we just waited it out, and we grew vegetables in the muddy verge around the car park.
You built an allotment, didn't you?
We did.
In the grass verge.
In the muddy verge, yeah. I weeded it all out, and
Grew
we
tomatoes
grew
and-
tomato plants, chili plants, lettuce,
Kept busy.
cucumbers.
There's not a lot to do in a car park for 95 days.
No, I trained the street dogs how to walk to heel.
We adopted a street cat.
Yeah, we just kept ourselves busy.
That's incredible. And I always get asked by listeners and viewers of the podcast about insurance. It's a huge topic, and where can people get insurance to go, abroad and so on. And some people face a challenge getting insured to stay in the UK. How on earth did you get insurance? Not just for Trudy, but for you guys as well, in terms of health insurance. Who do you go to for that?
So there's 2 companies we use for health insurance. World Nomads is one of the few insurance companies that you can renew on the road. So you can at the end of the year you can renew it without going back to your home country.
Right.
Most insurance companies will say you have to go home for a certain period and then apply again. And then sometimes we're forced across countries that maybe have travel warnings, so that invalidates your travel insurance. So
Yeah.
then there's a specialist company we use called Battleface that insures people when the Foreign Office says you shouldn't really go there.
Wow.
We also have a third one called Safety Wing. So if we have, if on World Nomad we can't add it on last minute and it's not included in that policy, we can actually buy a week, 2 weeks,
bolt-on.
month.
Yeah,
like
just
a
for
bolt-on.
one.
And were you finding you were buying insurance for cash when you entered a country?
Oh yeah, well,
the
outside
vehicle.
Europe,
Yeah.
it's basically you rock up on the border and they say, "Have you got insurance?" and you say no, and they go to that hut over there, and you rock up and you pay whatever varying amounts, and it's probably not worth the paper it's written on. In fact, there was one country we went to, and there wasn't a hut on the border, so he called somebody from the town to come and we followed him we followed his car, and you're thinking, I'm driving through this country without insurance to get to the insurance office to be able to buy insurance. It doesn't work. You realise quite quickly things don't work like they do.
I think us Brits, we like to conform, and we're quite risk averse.
Yeah.
So I think you have to chuck it in the bucket and just not worry about things like that, because the way to, it's like, I can honestly say, touch wood, that obviously I don't jinx myself, but we didn't have any accidents whilst driving around the world.
She said it now.
And that's because I drive according to their rules. So when they drive like lunatics in India, you just drive on whatever side of the road you want.
I saw you doing it on that clip.
Yeah, you just do whatever you want to, really. So for me, I just did whatever I wanted. So quite often I came up against policemen or traffic lights, and I just shout at them and go past them anyway. And that's what everybody did. And in fact, if you stop, all the people around you start crashing into each other and start shouting at you because you've created an accident because you're not doing what everyone should be doing.
Something I found was interesting is you did most of the driving, Marianne.
She did.
95% of the driving, but that's because I hate the pressure of editing, filming and everything else. And what happened when we first started, Chris would be driving, he would then come to edit and he'd say, that really nice church on the hill. And I'd say, yes. And he'd say, well, did you film it? No, why would I film it? Because I told you to? Yeah, so our marriage wouldn't be this happy if I was in charge and the responsible for filming.
I think if you're making videos, it's so much easier if I film it, I'm telling the story in my head, and then I edit it, and it all flows.
He's creative, I'm reactive. So I make a very good driver because I defence drive everywhere all the time, where he is very creative and I can't see that vision.
So some of this sounds quite stressful. How did you deal with the stress of the paperwork and meeting policemen who you got to shout at? How did you deal with that?
Well, it's interesting.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. But I would give the example of trying to cross the border just to get a stamp to come back in, because some countries your vehicle can only stay for a certain amount of time, and we went out of Turkey to get a stamp during COVID to come then straight back in. But it's when the second variant was coming, and because we had a British number plate, the Turkish immigration said, sorry, you can't come in because you've got a British number plate. And I said, no, we've literally just come through to get the stamp. And they went, no, just pull over there. So we were put in like a quarantine area with all the other British number plates. And it all got quite animated, and I said to them, look, honestly, I'm just going to put the kettle on. I'm going to make a cup of tea. Would you like one? Whilst you go and have a chat with somebody.
Because I've got tomatoes to tend to back in my car park.
I might have green fly by the time I get back. And it's that simple. You just try not to lose it, and you just...
But it can be stressful on the road. You don't know where you're going to park. Is it safe? Where do you get water?
Can you drink the water?
Can you drink the water? There's so many. It's that cycle of van life, isn't it? When you're not going to campsites, because I think the whole world trip, I think we only stayed in a couple of campsites.
Right. But was having each other important for you both?
Massively.
Oh yeah, hugely.
Massively. I think for us, being able to share something like this was one of the reasons we did it. Because you can make more money, but you can't make more time. And even when we ran a pub together, we felt like we weren't seeing each other enough, because we actually like each other, and we married each other because we like each other. So being on the road together, like literally, we're never more than a couple of feet away from each other in Trudy. And it's just the best. We laugh with each other. We just have so much fun. And I think for us as well, we're a good team. We're not blue and pink jobs.
If one's having a bad day, the other one, just supports. Because you're doing that kind of trip. I mean, a 4.5-year trip around the world. You're going to have ups and downs, and you're going to have good days and bad days. And when it's extreme temperatures, or you haven't got enough food, and all sorts of things, it can get or you break down. It can get quite stressful at times.
Yeah, absolutely. And was there a moment where there must be loads where you thought, this is why we did this? Are there particular moments you really remember?
The biggest one for me was when we met. It's a long story, but I'll keep it short. But we met a lone woman on a beach in Turkey, and we found out she'd been living in this tent to protect endangered turtles because cars were driving up and down the beach. And I made a short 10-minute video of her story about why she was doing it. And we managed to raise about £12,000 at that time to build a conservation centre on the beach. And since then, I mean, this is going on a few years now, since then, this lone woman in a tent, the beach is being protected. The Turkish law got changed on endangered animals. They put it on the school education. So it's actually part of the syllabus to teach school kids. She gets bus loads a day. The centre's been expanded. It's linked with the university. There's vets, there's a library, there's rescue tanks for turtles, and that's all from a 10-minute YouTube video.
And so your viewers raised the money, donated the money to do this?
We said we need help, and I said to this lady, I said, we might be able to get you the money, but I don't know how many years it would take. And we had it within a week.
Oh my goodness.
A week.
And we've raised up to nearly £50,000 now. And like all charities, it's money draining, but she just keeps powering on. She lives at the centre now. She's there all the time cleaning the beaches. She has 3,000 children and guests a week, and she teaches them about the cycle. She's got 2 vets, 3 marine professors, all the students that are studying marine biology come and volunteer.
It's a good story.
It's a great story.
Real. Do you know
because they were planning to build restaurants along that beach, and they all got cancelled. It's protected, so we weren't actually that popular at the time.
I bet.
But with certain people,
yes,
because we were doing these videos and highlighting the fact that this beach has hundreds of endangered turtles on them.
Wow.
But I think for me, the biggest thing was when you donate money to a charity like we all do, to be able to be part of something this epic and see and feel the change. And we say to all our community, if you go to Turkey and you're down near Antalya, it's an hour and a half away from Antalya airport, go and meet her. She is powerful. She is Xena, Princess Warrior.
She's as mad as a hatter.
Mad as a box of frogs. But who would give up their life to do that? I don't know.
That's incredible. What a story. And was there a moment for you, Marianne, that equally you remember?
Driving through Kruger National Park in Trudy, our 20-year-old Fiat Ducato, and I saw this huge elephant on the side, so I slowed down and I realised that there was a baby just behind this huge mama elephant. So I just put her into reverse. I just poodled on back a little bit, and if you watch the video, the mama elephant looked at me, she nodded her head, she started walking, and this little baby's ears go out, tail goes up, and it's like... And off he went into. I bawled.
It did
like
feel
a
like
baby.
a connection where she actually looked and just went, "Thank you very much."
I've got goose pimples just thinking about it. It was just epic.
Wow, maybe you'll meet the elephant again. They say they'll never forget.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. And I understand that you spent a night in Las Vegas as well.
Yeah, we had this mad idea, like, could we go and wild camp in Las Vegas?
Yeah,
you know?
on the Strip?
Yeah, we slept on the Strip.
In a car park on the Strip.
That's a busy place.
Yeah.
We rocked up at the Mirage Hotel's car park.
Yeah.
And the security were like, "Are you staying in the hotel, sir, madam?" You know, and we were like, "We're looking for tickets to Cirque du Soleil. Can we get them from concierge?" And he went, "Sure." You know, so anyway, we went in the car park. It still cost us like £30 for the night parking, but we actually went to Cirque du Soleil. We went out for dinner, put a few pounds in one of the slot machines, and slept on the Strip. Yeah.
Although you couldn't work out how the machines worked.
Oh, they're
because
so
it's all
complicated now.
computerised. People were like, what is
I
this?
just wanted a jar of quarters, little coins or
That
pennies
doesn't
you could
happen.
put. It's not like that anymore. You've got to put your credit card. It's all computerised.
Oh gosh, you
Don't
must be
do
very
it.
careful.
Don't do
I
it.
went to put $1 in a machine and lost it, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, that's it.
I didn't do any gambling when I went there. So let's talk about the future then. What is next? You have an epic road trip planned. You're
Yes.
having a new camper van, let's call it that, being built. Tell us a little bit about the van first.
Okay, so we've got a Toyota Hilux 2.5 2018.
That's a car.
Single cab. That's a truck.
Okay.
When I say car, my auntie from Canada tells me off. It's a truck.
It's a truck,
It's
yeah.
a truck. So they're taking the bed off the back, and they're actually building, or they have actually built an aluminium frame, which is now turning it into a truck camper with a pop-up roof, so it goes into a shipping container.
I thought that was a very clever observation by you. It's a lot cheaper, isn't it, to ship
Way
something in a
cheaper.
container?
And your stuff doesn't get stolen.
Okay. Oh, right, because
Because that
it's secure.
happened to us twice.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, and here in the UK as well, disappointingly.
Well, on the way back to the
Well,
UK.
on the way back, and
yeah.
they actually offloaded her in Germany, in Belgium. So there's
You don't know
you're
where
open
it
to
happened.
risk. You're open
Yeah.
to risk. So that's the actual sculpture of the vehicle, and then we're going to have solar on the roof. We've got we're going to kit it out. We'll share all of that.
And it's
more.
in Malaysia. It's in Kuala
It's in
Lumpur.
So it's being
Kuala Lumpur.
built in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
kind of had we were on holiday out there, and we just kind of just thought.
Holiday loosely, we were filming.
We were filming around Borneo for 3 months,
adventure.
but at the end we stayed in KL for a few days, and we thought, what's the next vehicle? And then we went looking for a truck, and we found one, and we just bought it 2 days before we left.
Wow.
So it's there.
It's not in our name.
It's not in our name. It's in somebody else's name, but I think it should be there when we get
So
back.
there's an awful lot of trust gone into
There's
it.
a lot of
huge amount
trust.
trust. Yes, we paid for the vehicle. The truck company that build these truck campers, it's in his name, and we've sent some money over, and we have videos to show that it's being built. But we're flying over next week.
And it's right-hand drive.
Yes.
Yes.
There's a
Malaysia's-
reason for that, isn't there?
Well, I actually wanted a left-hand drive, but it's very tricky to get one, and the closest I could find was the Philippines, and then I would have had to ship it over. So we decided actually suck it up, because right-hand drive means we can't go through Central America.
Yeah.
It also means we can't go across Saudi.
Yeah.
So we wanted a left-hand drive, but it is what it is, and we will make this adventure happen.
So tell us where you're planning to drive Trevor, as you've named
Trevor.
him.
Yes, Trevor.
My
Hot
dad's
news.
called Trevor.
Is he? Oh,
Trev,
how
the
wonderful.
Toyota tread truck.
Yes, Trev the truck.
So tell us about the trip. It's in Malaysia. You're going to fly out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if all goes according to plan,
Yeah.
and it never does,
Never
so
does.
don't hold me on this.
Yes.
But the plan is that we're going to pick it up, test drive it, sort of round maybe Borneo, Indonesia for a few months, just to make sure there's no teething trouble, because then we
Yes.
can go back and get it fixed before we leave.
Okay.
And then if we get the Chinese visa, we're going to drive across China, through Kazakhstan, across the Caspian Sea to Azerbaijan, Georgia, Turkey, drive it back to the
Beautiful.
UK.
Yeah.
That's the warm-up. And then
A good warm-up.
It's a very good
Warm-up.
warm-up.
It's a great region,
And
isn't
then we're going to ship it to
Halifax.
drive across Canada.
Okay.
And then basically drive all the way down to the bottom of Argentina.
Wow.
Obviously,
Avoiding
there's the
Central
Darien.
America.
Obviously, the
Avoiding,
Darien Gap.
yeah,
Well,
Central
we can go
America.
into Guatemala and Belize because they're okay with right-hand drive.
Okay.
But then we'll have
We'll
to
ship
ship
it
from
to
Belize to
Colombia.
Colombia. Then we'll go into Ecuador,
Okay.
Peru, Bolivia.
So all the
then-
way down through South America.
Yeah. And then that's not the end. That's the halfway point. Because then we ship it to Durban in South Africa
Okay.
and explore some of the east coast of Africa, sort of up to Kenya, and then back down and then up the west coast back home. So that is I think it's about 49 countries, and we estimate it would take us 4 to 6 years.
4 to 6 years.
But I am researching. I've got 3 other countries that I'm researching, and if I can get in, I'm going. Well, don't forget, I'm a granny now. I'm 58 years old, and once you hit 60 to 65, it's actually harder to get insurance in those countries, like
Right.
to drive those vehicles. So it all becomes a little bit more
And
questionable.
will you see family whilst you're away?
Yeah, we're going to have to fly
Yeah.
back every. We've got family, so we'll fly
Yeah.
back depending on what we can afford.
Yes.
It's all
And where you can leave Trevor safely.
That's-
Yeah,
Yes,
because you
or-
can't always. Some countries won't let you leave a vehicle,
No.
a
Yeah.
foreign vehicle, and leave.
And when we're
So-
shipping from Buenos Aires to Durban, we'll have
go
some
home.
shipping time.
And of course,
so
it will
we'll
be
go
on
home.
Malaysian number plates as well.
Yeah, but it makes it a bit
Yes.
more complicated.
Not wrong.
Just a little
Living in
bit.
British
the UK.
passport, British Malaysian vehicle.
This is going to be an epic road trip. So people can follow you on
Yeah.
Tread the Globe.
Tread
Yeah.
the globe.
On YouTube will be a weekly video, which is about an hour. So you make yourself your tea and your coffee, and just take a seat and
We do an
Sit
we
back
do an
and
hour
watch the
an hour
chaos.
show a week.
These two are mad. I think you have to agree, listening or watching this. I wish you every success with the trip.
So-
The planning must be epic.
Yeah, it's
There's a lot.
yeah.
And when do you go?
Whenever I finish the series.
yes,
So
come
we're
on,
looking,
Chris.
the,
we're looking.
the vehicle will be ready end of December.
Okay.
So in a few months. So we're looking middle of Jan if I can get the series finished on time.
So
But it's-
January 26th, you're off.
I have a big stick. I keep whipping him.
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
Stop sitting here talking to me.
Yeah.
Get the videos done. We really want to see them. And I can't wait to follow this next adventure. It's going to be epic.
We'll come back and talk to you,
Would you?
whenever we finish.
When you're in the UK, pop in. Let's hear
Okay.
how you're
Can't
getting
you
on.
fly out and do?
Yeah, let's go. I'll come to Malaysia.
think
I
you
want to see
Yeah.
Trev.
All right.
You should.
Guys, you're an inspiration. Thank you so much for coming in. It's been great to have you
Thanks
both.
for having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
And every success, and enjoy the next adventure.
So that's Chris and Marianne from Tread the Globe. That is one hell of a journey there, Matt.
It certainly is. And this next one's going to be even bigger, 4 or 5 years long. And they keep changing things. They keep changing the route for lots of different reasons. So I'm going to be keeping in touch with them. They've become great friends of mine. So no doubt I'll be keeping in touch via WhatsApp. And perhaps we'll do a future episode in the new year and we find out where they are and see how things are going. I'd love to keep in touch anyway.
And it sort of puts into perspective, doesn't it? You got your motorhome parked outside, get in it and get travelling, because you don't have to go around the world, but at least you can go 50 miles down the road.
Well, you don't have to go as mad as they've gone, that's for sure. But yeah, if you're thinking, shall we go to France? Shall we go to Cornwall? Just do it. Carpe diem. Life is short. I'm evidence of that. So just, seize the day. Just do it. We're all here for a season. Don't put it off. Just go and do it. If you're like me and often working, browsing and using your data on the road, especially if using campsite Wi-Fi or random hotspots abroad, you'll want to listen up. I've been using NordVPN for a while now, and honestly, I wouldn't go without it. Whether I'm parked up in the van somewhere remote or grabbing signal in a service station, NordVPN gives me that extra layer of protection. It basically creates a secure tunnel for all your online traffic, so no one can snoop on what you're doing, not even on dodgy public Wi-Fi. But it's not just about security. Say you're in Spain, but you want to watch your favourite show back home. NordVPN lets you stream as if you're still in the UK. Dead handy, that. It also has this clever feature called threat protection. It blocks pop-ups, trackers and dodgy websites before they even load. So everything's a bit quicker and cleaner too. And setup, well, it couldn't be easier. Just download the app, tap to connect, and it just runs quietly in the background. It works across your phone, your tablet, laptops, in fact, whatever you're using. So if you fancy giving it a go, head to nordvpn.com/Motorhome Matt, and you'll get 4 extra months free when you take out the 2-year plan. And there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Honestly, it's one of those things you don't realise you need until something goes wrong. So get it sorted before your next trip. That link again, nordvpn.com/Motorhome Matt, and get 4 months free when you take out the 2-year plan.
It's the Motorhome Matt Podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
It's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe. It's time now for our Q&A, questions and answers. You ask the questions, and thanks for them all. And Matt, he's the expert, will answer them. And if he doesn't know, as I always say, he will ask somebody who jolly well does. First of all, we've got Mike Gill, who got in touch.
Hi Matt, from the podcast. I just wondered if you could tell me how you could accurately measure the height of your vehicle. You get all the data sheets for width and length for the vehicle, which, yes, that's quite easy to translate. But with things like air conditioning units on the top, makes it a little bit vague as to what the height is. Just wondered if there's some clever thing you can measure it with radar, or going under a boom or a bridge or something.
So there you go then, Matt. How do you measure the height of your motorhome? Quick little story for you. There was a BBC local radio station, and we went from radio cars, which you pumped the pole up for, and it went up about 20 or 30 feet, and then you could communicate from wherever the reporter was back to the studio, replaced them for ones with a satellite dish, and so you didn't have to do the pumping and all the rest of it. But it didn't come with the training, because there were occasions where people had some quite bad accidents putting the mast up and not seeing electric pylons and stuff like that. But with the satellite dish, it said we're going to get rid of all that training, so they did. And in the first week that they had them, somebody from a BBC local radio station drove one into a car park with a barrier across the top
with a height restriction on,
and took the satellite dish off. So it does matter, doesn't it? Haven't some mobile phones got some sort of black magic in them now, where you can point and click and it measures things?
Yeah, there's apps that measures from point A to B as you move the phone. Yeah, that's true. I've never done that, but I think Mike was on the roof of his van when he recorded that question. It sounded like it from the background noise. But I've done this, Mike. It's a great question. When you're going through the toll booths in France, they often have a digital measure that shows you the height of your vehicle, and the height of the vehicle determines how much you pay. I've been through a few of those. Often they just have an L-shaped stick, looks like a hangman, and they hold that up, and that's 3 meters tall. And if the stick goes on the roof of the van, it doesn't touch the floor, they know you're in the next toll category. It's as basic as that. But I remember once we wanted to know how tall a motorhome was. It was actually for our hire fleet, and we wanted to convey this to customers driving it because it had an aircon on the roof and a satellite dome. So it wasn't as per the manufacturer's brochure. So we got a piece of wood, part of the van alongside a wall, a long piece of wood, piece of CLS, so a piece of baton, put a spirit level on it, which we taped to it, and we held it on top of the aircon and poked it into the wall and made sure the spirit level bubble was in the right place. And then we marked the wall, and then we measured from the wall to the floor.
Can I just say, I had to do a Naughty Boys speeding class in the last 6 months or so.
Another one?
No, it was the one I was telling you about last year. I got done on the motorway for doing 80 miles an hour on the motorway coming back from the NEC, funnily enough. And so be aware, 70 miles an hour means 70 miles an hour. But when I was in this Naughty Boys telling off course, which, by the way, I would recommend, they're brilliant, keep you educated about driving. Yes, it's a pain. Yes, you have to pay 85 quid, but it's worth. You don't get your points, and it's worth doing. But they were saying when you're looking at lorries overtaking on motorways, why do lorries always come out? And the guy was saying, because he was an ex-lorry driver, look at the rear axle. If it's high on the rear axle, the lorry is empty, and he knows he can then overtake one in front which is low on the axle because he's carrying a full load. That's why they overtake. Is it the same with the motorhomes when you're measuring them? If you've got stuff in it, will it be lower when you're measuring its height? Yeah,
it could do. I mean, motorhomes generally are always at weight because the springs, leaf springs, are usually horizontal. In our van, we've got air suspension on the back, so it doesn't really make a big difference when it's fully loaded. But yeah, a fully loaded motorhome can be lower at the back for sure, if underweight. But I'd always measure the height when it's empty. And then the maximum height is going to be for that bridge. Yeah. And you'll know whether you're going to fit.
Yeah, and pay attention to those signs on the bridges. I always wonder how buses and lorries and people, come a cropper, because you get the sign which says low bridge ahead, you get a sign saying low bridge, and then you get a sign on the bridge, which is huge.
I think they just forget. They think they're in the car. It's like Costa drive-thrus as well. People just don't look at them. Yeah, look how many drive-thrus are damaged. What Muppet did that? Yeah. And McDonald's, all the fast food chains, usually there's a height restriction on it.
Yeah, I used to live on the South Circular Road in London, in South London, and there was a railway bridge that used to go over the South Circular, and they actually dug out the road but you went down a dip to get under the bridge, but even then, with the signs and the dip, and it was a main road in London, lorries would regularly crunch and get stuck underneath. Yeah. And of course then the railway had to stop as well because they had to inspect the bridge.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And there's always posts on Facebook of motorhomes with the back end ripped off. Yeah. You think that's not going to polish out.
So thanks for getting in touch then, Mike. We went around the houses a bit there, but at least we didn't get stuck under a bridge. Rob Johnson got in touch.
Hi Matt, it's Rob Johnson here. I've contacted you a few times. I'm not stalking you, I promise. We're possibly going to buy into a piece of land here in Spain, which we may make it into a campsite for motorhomes. My question for you is this. I know that you're into the cleaner, greener waste products and things like that. Is there such a thing as in your knowledge, that you're able to install that is cleaner for disposal of black waste and grey waste and things like that? Just wondered if you'd heard in the industry. Thanks again for all you do. Cheers. Bye.
So what's black waste?
Wee and poo. Toilet. So the toilet waste is normally considered black, and then the waste that's gone down a sink plug hole or shower is grey.
Right, I'm with you.
Yeah. So, you know what? I think he's flexing as well, Rob, is saying he's building a campsite in Spain. We always say, don't we, say where you are. I'm building a campsite in Spain. Good for you, Rob. You know what? I'd love to know if there is something like this. I know there's filtration systems for grey water, and it can be treated and then become fresh water again. And obviously, sewage treatment works. We'll treat black waste and ultimately turn it back into the water system clean. But is there a system you could employ on a campsite? I don't know. Maybe you're listening or watching and you know of a system. I would genuinely be interested to know. So do send us an email or record and ask Matt and we can update Rob.
Yeah, a few decades ago in this country, in the UK, which has obviously got temperate climate, not like a lot of Spain, which is quite warm, apart from northern Spain, that is. Did reed beds. Do you remember?
Yes.
Remember
Yeah.
They would have, so make a bog garden, a large one with reed beds, and then they'd put the black waste in there and be a bit smelly for a week or so, but it would be processed ecologically.
Yeah, I'm not sure how attractive that campsite would be with turds floating around the pool.
That's a good name for the nightclub on the campsite, isn't it? Turds.
Yeah, not somewhere I'd be going swimming.
Where are you going tonight? I'm going around turds.
Yeah, I don't think that would be very good for your campsite marketing, Rob, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
So maybe there is a slightly less obtrusive or intrusive treatment solution. I don't know. Matt, if you know of one, do let us know.
Yeah.
And then we can let Rob know.
Yeah, and Rob, make sure that you talk to the local council as well when you're coming out with any scheme. So we come to a question now for our sponsor, Ripe. We insure a Heimer caravan, says James Foote, with Ripe, and they are great. Over the last 2 years, our insurance has gone up £70 to £277 for a new for old £55,000 German caravan. Even at £277, it's well over half the price of the club, and they no longer do new for old. Mm-hmm. They told me if we could not get a new German caravan, they will give us the £55,000 for us to buy what we want. Very good. Can you just unravel that for us then?
Yeah, basically new for old. So if the caravan's written off or stolen, it's an expensive caravan, this, but it's a German one, so it's 55k. Then what James is saying is that Ripe would give him new for old cover.
Right, what did Ripe have to say then?
So Ripe said, "Hi James, this is fantastic feedback. Thank you so much for sharing. We love hearing things like this about how we've helped save customers money, but it's also really good to know that they're reassured by the level of cover too."
They went on to say, "We want to make sure that we can help take away some of the worry and people can relax and enjoy their next trip, because that is what it's all about."
Yeah, leaving the everyday worries behind and setting free on the open road. Thanks for your custom, said Mel from the Ripe team. So make sure you get your exclusive 15% off your premium by clicking the link in the episode description.
So how do people get in touch then, Matt?
We would love it if you did. Head to mhmp.info/Ask Matt. You can click the orange button and record your question. And remember, please tell us where in the world you are, or you can fill in the form and we'll read the question for you.
If you're looking for trusted brands and services, then make sure you visit the Motorhome Matt approved directory. It's at mhmp.info/approved.
And remember to follow on your favourite podcast app or click subscribe if you're watching on YouTube.
I'm going out tonight. Fancy turds?
I'm not bringing my trunks and coming swimming with you.